Hello, Supercoaches, and welcome to Grand Final Week. Yes, it is our final SuperCoach NRL podcast of the year. The SuperCoach NRL Finals winner will be crowned this week. There's league championships going on the line. We've got a massive panel as well with Jet Hatton and Wilson Smith here. Jet, Sharkies, what happened?
Yeah, no good. They were just outclassed by Melbourne. Probably a few too many penalties blamed for a preliminary final, but it is what it is. You know, the boys gave their all, had a good season.
When you saw Ashley Klein get axed as the referee for the grand final, was there any emotional reaction?
Nah, I knew it was going to happen. It should have happened a long time ago, to be honest. But he's in the bunker, so we'll still get to hear Ashley, which I'm sure he's going to enjoy. So,
Wilso, your team's going okay.
Yeah, I had a rough week one, but I've had really good weeks the last 2 weeks, and so I think I was about 17,000 after week one, but I'm into 2,200 now, so going all right.
I reckon I'm on almost exactly the same score as you, so we'll be racing neck and neck during this last week, that's for sure. Where are you ranked, Jet?
Rather not talk about it. So yeah,
it's been concentrating on the Sharkies.
Just been concentrating. It's been a busy time for racing as well. It's grand final weekend for Sydney racing fans as well on Saturday, so we've got that to look forward to.
True. Well, obviously, we all know the good players, but it's the pods that separate everyone in SuperCoach Finals. They're so important, not only in Classic, but especially in SuperCoach Finals. Who's your big pod?
I think I got in earlier with you guys. I like Paddy Carrigan. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be hard to go in there because you got so many popular players at that position. You got Payne Haas at front row and then Eli Katoa in back row, but anything could happen in these games, and grand finals are for big game players. It's exactly what Paddy Carrigan is. I think he averaged about 65 on the season. I think most of those better scores would be when the Broncos had harder games, so I like Paddy Carrigan there. I
really like him as well, and the main reason is you have to have 4 players from each club. We've got 8 players all up, 4 from each club. I want 4 players from the Storm in big playing positions, mostly in the back line and a hooker, of course, with Harry Grant. So you need to fit in Broncos players somewhere, and I think back row is the place to do it because you've got Carrigan averaging 65 for the year. The next best guy, the only guy above him in that slot is Katoa, who you mentioned, who averages 75. So what, you've got a 10-point gap over the season. It's not that big. You know what you're going to get from those guys, whereas I want to attack the other positions.
Yeah, no, I really like Carrigan as well. I'll be locking him in purely just a bit of a point of difference from Eli Katoa.
Yep. Who's your pod?
Well, so I think most people will be... it's going to be pretty predictable, I think, the way most people set their teams. So I think centre wing is the spot where I'll be targeting other pods, I think, and I think most people will be going with Katoni Staggs. So I might zag and go with Xavier Coates. There's just a massive upside play.
I like Coates because against the Sharkies, they usually use that kick to him. I don't think they used it even once against the Sharkies, so I'm expecting that a lot this weekend. It doesn't have the base, but he can obviously score the tries.
Yeah, it's a risky pick, but it's pure upside.
For me, I'm going in a similar vein. I think I'm going to go with Nick Meaney as my pod, just because he's kicking goals. Obviously can score some tries on the end of a pretty good backline too, and not many people will go him. So quick rules lowdown. You've got 4 players from each club. That's a big thing for this week. Captain earns triple and VC earns double. Let's start with hooker. I can't see a reason not to go Harry Grant. I can reveal that today Ben Hunt has had his position updated, so he is 5'8" and hooker, but I still don't think he's an option, averaging under 50 for the year. I think Harry Grant, you just have to lock in this slot.
Yep, I agree. He's been the second best hooker all year in SuperCoach, and with him as the only real hooking option this week, I can't go past him.
Yeah, I mean, your only other options is Hunt, Corey Pakes, or Ben Tolte. So none of them are very enticing. So I think you really do just have to lock in Harry Grant.
Yeah, it could even be a VC or a C because he does have a great record in these big games.
Not Tolte, I meant Tyson Smoothie. But yes,
Tolte,
not playing.
He's on our mind because a lot of people in the office absolutely love him because it dropped out of the side with Smoothie taking that final spot on the bench.
Yeah. I do think, yes, you do just have to lock in Harry Grant.
Yeah. At front row, do we just lock in Payne Haas, the second best player in SuperCoach this year? He's so much better than the next best guy. We don't overthink this, do we?
No, I think it's the same sort of thing. Like, he's just hands down the best.
Yeah.
the only other option is Stefano Utoikamanu, who's a significant drop off. So again, I think you just have to lock in Payne Haas.
Yeah, I mean, Stefano's been in good form during the finals, but his season average is like 30 points less or something. The next best guy is Carrigan, who I want in the back row, which is what we're going to talk about now. Eli Katoa or Carrigan? You're going Carrigan?
Yeah, I'm Carrigan. I was weighing up going both of them and having one in the flex, but I think I'm going to go two. We'll talk about this later. I'll go two centres instead, but yeah, for me, I like Carrigan there.
I did temporarily toy with that, having them both as well, but I think I've settled on Carrigan in the 2RF and someone else, the Storm fullback in the flex.
Yeah, flex is for attacking upside. I can't bring myself to chuck a forward in there. On to halfback, Jerome Hughes. I'll be liking him. What I liked the most about him was that try on the weekend, which Jet, I'm sure, doesn't want to replay in his head, but he's fended off with that dodgy arm and pulled off a great fend it was too. Shoulder didn't look to be a problem. So, he might not be 100% fit, but he's looking pretty damn good.
It was an average defence there, no doubt, but it was an awesome run. And when you saw that he was looking like that early on, you think, oh, geez, he's back here and he looks awesome. That's the Jerome Hughes that we've known over the years. So he's going to play like that again. No doubt to be needled up to the brim with painkillers, so that arm stays all right. But yeah, I think I'm going to lock him in.
Yeah, I'm not locked in on him. It depends, because you can only afford it from either team. This is one position where I may consider going with the Renault just for a bit of upside. Yeah. I have Jerome Hughes in there at the moment, but it depends on where I want to go with my centre wing, basically, because I may have too many Storm players. I do think Jerome Hughes is better, but it depends on what you want to do with the rest of your team. But I do think there is a decent argument about getting Renault. Yeah,
I don't hate the Reynolds call at all. He should be kicking goals. Obviously, I only kicked that one goal on the weekend, but he should be kicking them all now. His average for the season is almost exactly the same as Hughes. So over the year, he's been good. Obviously, recently, has barely been playing. And over the weekend, I was live blogging it at the time, and I wrote the big story after this game. This is about 60 minutes. The big story about this game is going to be whether Adam Reynolds should have played or not.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, it didn't age well, and he produced the match-winning play.
Yeah.
But he only got 30-odd SuperCoach points.
Yeah, it didn't really translate to points, but I'd still think there is a decent argument to go with him this week. I just have a feeling he could be in for a big game.
Any love for Reynolds?
Well, if you want to have Tony Staggs, you can sort of pair them both together on that right-hand side. They've looked really good in the right-hand side over the last few weeks in the finals. And if you want to pair those two together, I can definitely see it working.
5'8" is wide open. So Munster is obviously the number one guy. But if you want to pot up, you got Ezra Mam and Ben Hunt as well. If there was a late change on Sunday and Ezra Mam came in to start at 5'8", would you be tempted to go him as a pod instead of Munster?
Definitely. I think I was looking at it before. I think he only played 49 minutes last week, so I would have to see him an hour before kickoff being brought into the starting side to even consider it. So at the moment, I've just got Munster locked in. But if in the late mail he does start, I would definitely be tempted to go with Ezra. Yep. He has gone big in grand finals before, so definitely tempted.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he didn't start. Just how good he was in that. Like, he was a Nathan Cleary performance away from getting a Clive Churchill. What do you have, a hat-trick that day?
He got a hat-trick.
Yeah. Would have scored about 400 SuperCoach points. So it's hard to go past Munster just because he's a big game. Obviously, I said Ezra's a big game player too, but just Munster in these finals, he'd probably have the highest average, or is it Reece Walsh?
You mean in SuperCoach Finals?
The SuperCoach Finals,
it's 85. I think Walsh is slightly more. But in terms of 5'8" this year, he's second behind Jaden Campbell, who didn't even play 5'8" this year. So it's essentially the best 5'8" in SuperCoach, certainly the best 5'8" in this game.
I'm certain he'd have the best average against top 8 teams, because every time he seems to play a big team, he just goes up 2 levels. So it's going to be hard to go past Munster, but just with the way we know Ezra can play in these finals, and the ownership with Munster would be a lot higher. He's definitely a nice little option.
Centre wing is always the position where we go with the pods. We spoke about it before, but you could go flex with a centre wing and also a centre wing in your centre wing slot and go with 2 centre wingers, which is what the winners have been doing in the last couple of weeks, particularly with Paul Alamotti. The most popular guy is Katoni Staggs. The issue I've got with him is that he goes in and out of games so much. He doesn't have that base, so I'm a little bit worried about him. Are there pods that you want here, Jet?
They just seem to target him so much in these big games, and every time he had the ball on the weekend, it just seemed like he was going to break a tackle. And I just think it's really hard to go past Staggs. There's a few options there. I'm going to go 2, and I really like Will Warbrick, the way he's looked since he's come back, just breaks tackles, has that try-scoring ability. I prefer him over Xavier Coates just because Coates can go very low. He can also go very high, but in these, I don't think it's going to be a 40-point game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and when it is like that, Coates doesn't go too well. So I like the upside of Warbrick just because he can break tackles, and just Staggs is just an awesome player at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there is even a chance that even if Coates does score multiple tries, that he still ends up with a pretty bad score. So there is some risk there. It's kind of funny. Every other position, there's a pretty big standout, but I feel like pretty much anyone at centre wing in this game has a lot of upside, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea at all to go double centre wing with your flex.
Yeah, I like a lot of players on this list. I can't split them, to be honest. I like your point about Warbrick, and I think going up for the high ball is going to be big for this team. And I mean, he's almost as good under the high ball as Xavier Coates anyway. He's a huge weapon there. Karapani could be an option. Shibasaki running off Reece Walsh has been really good too. So, look, I can barely split them, to be honest, but I think I will go with Staggs. At fullback, Reece Walsh, do we have to go with him? He's averaging 120 over his last 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first player I picked, really. But I think at the moment I've got double fullback, so him and Pappenhausen in the flex. But if it depends what you're doing elsewhere with your flex, but I really don't think there's an argument for picking Paps over Reece Walsh.
No.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
He's been the best player in the competition for the last 8 or so weeks, and it's translated in SuperCoach points. So he probably won't kick this weekend, but it doesn't really matter. Just the way he plays. He just gets SuperCoach points from everywhere, and he can do it like that. So
yeah, if you're new to SuperCoach as well, errors only count for -2 points. And yes, Walshy makes 5 per game, pretty much, but he tries so much that he makes up for it in other parts of the field. So you have to have him in. Ryan Pappenhausen, I'm really considering putting in my flex, but then I looked at his recent stats. So I'll read this out for you. It's only averaged, so his season average is 74, but in his last 11 games, he's only averaged 50. So massively skewed by 3 early tons, which were all at Amy Park. So recent form is bad. Obviously, he's had injury issues and other things as well. It's a night game. It's going to be less high scoring than these afternoon games have been in the finals. So, look, I could talk myself out of Ryan Pappenhausen and instead go with 2 centre wingers. Having said that, Pappenhausen does have huge upside.
Yeah, no, I could definitely be talked out of it. It's out of all the players I've picked so far, it's the position that I'm least settled on. So I could very easily pivot because it is quite concerning, his recent form, because he has sort of been like 1 or 2 games in and then out for a week or 2 for the last few months. So definitely concerning, his poor recent form. And yeah, I could very easily pivot.
yeah, I could see Brisbane just going at him early too.
Yeah.
And then he's just gonna. He obviously isn't gonna shy away from it, but geez, he doesn't bend the line that much these days, Pappenhausen, and you'd just rather target someone that can, in these low-scoring games, is going to get a better score than him.
Nice. Well, there we have it. Our take on SuperCoach Finals, week 4, the final week of the season. It's been a massive year of SuperCoach podcasts. A huge thanks to Jet, huge thanks to Wilso, Rob Sutherland, who's no longer with us, and everyone who's been on this pod. It's been a good ride. We'll catch you next year.